Illinois!
Welcome inside another edition of The Wrap-Up. I'm Nick Buckler. With me, as always, Dan Myers. Dan, thanks for being a part of the show. 31 consecutive weeks.
All right, here we go.
This is it.
Get it rolling.
This is quite the episode we have planned for you today, to be honest. We have a variety of things. You might as well call it the variety hour,
There you go.
plain and simple. We're going to start off with some history. Deep history. The Detroit Lions. They have won in Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, for the first time in my long lifetime. 1991 was the last time they got a victory there. Dan was graduating from high school and celebrating a Lions win. Me, well, I was negative at the time. And, 2015, they win it 18-16. And they really tried to lose this game.
Every aspect.
2 extra points missed by Matt Prater. He can make a 50-yard field goal, but he can't make an extra point twice. But they hold on, they win. And it came down to the end. Field goal opportunity for Mason Crosby with seconds remaining. And it looks like on the replay that the kick actually grazes the holder's offhand and just spirals, not even just out of control. And didn't get blocked. And what set that up was an onside kick that Calvin Johnson had. He's above everyone grabbing it. And, let me tell you something.
With tactified gloves also.
Yeah, well,
Allegedly.
sliperified gloves.
Yeah.
They just, needless to say, he didn't come down with the ball. No one near him. Right in his hands. And, it's the Lions trying to give another game away, but they get the win.
Yeah, and it was an ugly one too. And they literally tried every way to lose this game. I mean, when it came to that onside kick, I'm like, all right, how are they going to mess this up? And I wasn't even upset when Calvin dropped the ball. I just started laughing. I was slapping my knee. I was laughing so hard.
Is that a real thing?
That's where the term, I was literally, yeah.
You were knee slapping.
Yep, I was knee slapping. And I was just like, I don't know if it was because it was funny or it was just out of disgust, or maybe it was a little bit of both.
You're mad at yourself and you wanted to inflict pain?
Right, exactly. Yeah, just again, here we go. I hear a lot of, Lion slappies saying, well, thank God we got this off our back.
Does it matter?
No. And the thing that bums me out is, I was talking to a couple other people saying it'd be nice if this were to mean something, if it was actually worth something for the season, but when they're playing as bad as they are, it's just kind of upsetting. It's like, oh, yeah, well, there goes our draft position. So to me, it really wasn't that big of a deal. I was actually rooting for them to lose just because of their seed placement, what have you, with the draft. So I really didn't want them to win. But here we are. We're just one of those teams that goes and messes up
everything.
A legit team's season or postseason chances.
I don't think the Packers are legit, and I'll tell you why. They've lost now 3 in a row. They lost at home to the depleted Detroit Lions, who don't even have a front office right now. Their owner is a fossil, and Aaron Rodgers looked horrible. There is no camaraderie in Green Bay right now. The players fighting on the sidelines last week against Carolina. He's not even strapping his helmet for some plays. It's like he's almost phoned it in. He's missing wide open receivers. He's yelling at players on his team, and he's not being a leader. Mm-hmm. And neither is Mike McCarthy, their head coach, taking the play calling away and then giving it back and then taking it back away. And it's almost to the point where this team is just in a downward spiral, and their demise is here. Chicago's going to pass them, and I think Minnesota's for real. Yeah. Although I don't think that they're going to do anything in the playoffs, but they're going to win the NFC North. They're 7-2 and had an impressive win in Oakland yesterday, 30-14.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I was just waiting for Aaron Rodgers to step up and become the Aaron Rodgers that Joe Buck, Aaron Andrews, everyone talks about. The analysts on Fox. There's this legendary Aaron Rodgers. He's one of the top quarterbacks. Yes, he is, but where has he been the past couple of weeks? He definitely wasn't there in Green Bay last Sunday, and it was really embarrassing. It's got to be frustrating to be a Green Bay fan too right now. You have this legendary quarterback, or at least that's what the 4-letter networks are trying to tell us, or forced down our throats. That he's this legendary QB, or he's on his way to becoming legendary, and he's not. He just he couldn't pull it out, and that says a lot about him.
Well, he managed to salvage 28 fantasy points from my fantasy team this week. En route to all 4 of my teams winning this week, I would just like to point that out to the viewers. So if you need advice, we might offer Nick's Fantasy Football Minute coming up next week on the wrap-up, who to start, who to sit. And if you want your team to look like mine, well, you're in for a treat. So, yeah, Aaron Rodgers got me 28 points en route to a victory over one of the anchors here at Shelby TV, who, if she wants to respond to this on the news this week, I'll allow that to happen. But I'm celebrating right now. We're partying in the streets. Van Dyke, we're going to start blocking it off, put a mortgage on the building, and we're going to party hardy. Pat's Palace, we're coming for you. We're going to move on away from the Lions, though. They don't deserve much more of our time until next year. I mean, but we're going to still talk about them because this is, as much as you want to not say it, it's a football town. And we're going to stick with football. The Michigan Wolverines, scary win. Scary win. But their offense finally looked good. And it had always been, okay, the defense is top 5 in the country. Where's Jake Rudock? Where is this offense? The offense was not the problem this week. Jake Rudock goes 440 yards, 6 touchdowns. He does throw an interception. But they escape in double overtime, 48-41, in Bloomington against the Hoosiers.
Yeah, what a nail biter! Oh my gosh, when they, the last 5 minutes of the game was just incredible, and then going into that double overtime was just, you really bite your nails if you're a Michigan Wolverines fan. Definitely, it was just an incredible game to watch. I mean, it was entertaining, but if you're rooting for University of Michigan, it wasn't. You were holding your breath a lot for that game, so it was definitely incredible.
I was amongst the Michigan State fans during that, and we didn't have the game on. We were watching the Western Michigan women's soccer game on ESPN3, by the way. They lost their opening round game to the Florida Gators, so their season is over, but a great year for them, needless to say, making the tournament and only losing 1-0. But we were watching that game and the Michigan game. We had the updates going on our phone, and everyone there was like, oh, Indiana scored, and Michigan got the ball with 1 second left on like the 4-yard line, able to punch it in as time expires, and Rudock and J.U. Chesson had themselves a game. Chesson had 4 touchdowns, I believe it was, including a 64-yard touchdown, and he's forming himself into quite the receiver. And Rudock's coming into the guy that they thought, okay, we have a pro-style quarterback here, and Jim Harbaugh's opening up the playbook, and he's not being conservative anymore. He's throwing the ball down the field like we mentioned a little bit last week against Rutgers. It continued this week, and there's 2 weeks in a row of 40-plus points for this offense, and that's good to see as we have 2 tough games coming up.
Yeah. Penn
State on the road, never easy on the road in college football. I don't care if you're playing Children of the Blind. It's still a tough game in their building, as we proved in Bloomington.
Yeah.
The Hoosiers are not a good football team. They're on the brink, but they're still not good. And Penn State is a good team, and in their building, night game, it's going to be tough. And then obviously after that, there's the Ohio State game. So this is the time for the Michigan offense to wake up. They need their defense to get back into it, though, however, and be the defense that they thought they were. And I have a stat about the Big Ten, too. Before the year, how would you say not Minnesota, they're terrible, Northwestern Wildcats, Iowa Hawkeyes, and the Michigan Wolverines? If I were to tell you at this point they'd be 26-4, you tell me I need to find what you're ingesting and find myself some of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
They're 26-4, just like we all thought, right? Yeah. Michigan State, well, they had some troubles this week as well. They were at home against Maryland, who's the worst team in the Big Ten. They win it 24-7, but Connor Cook leaves the game. He doesn't start. They have O'Connor start that game. Connor Cook comes back in, gets hurt, leaves the game again, didn't return. They say he's day-to-day, but just kind of a shaky game, a wild, all-over-the-place kind of game in East Lansing this weekend.
Yeah, it was. And it's, with the team being ranked as they are and, coming off the loss that they did last week in the fashion that it came, you really had to show up, and I think they tried to do that, but it just wasn't the same. Or wasn't the expected Michigan State team that we've been waiting for to see. And unfortunately, they didn't show up last week, and it was just a tough game for them. I mean, they didn't look right. I mean, yeah, they did win 24-7, but it really wasn't that impressive to me. And then with Connor Cook bouncing like he is. We'll see how that goes. It'll be interesting these next couple games to see how they do.
Well, they have their biggest game of the year this week. They're playing the Ohio State Buckeyes, and that's not going to be an easy one. Some people still think Ohio State's the best team in the country. I don't. I think the best team in the country is the Alabama Crimson Tide, Roll Tide. They're just knocking everyone off. They have a loss, sure. LSU dropped their second now. They're down. Utah lost again. There's a lot of upsets this week. And Michigan, well, they stayed at 14 in the new rankings, and Michigan State stays up, I believe, number 8, where they are. But Iowa, they're sitting at number 5. They could be playing for a college playoff. And Notre Dame's up in the top 4 as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how the final couple weeks of the college football season plays out. There's a lot of teams in the area that are knocking on the door, and Michigan still has a chance to play for a Big Ten title, and they could knock off Iowa in that game if they do and spoil their season. I don't think there's a realistic shot Michigan makes the 4-team playoff, but they definitely could be a top 7, top 6 team if they win out, beat Ohio State, and win the Big Ten title game. Obviously, it's a long shot. They still have to get by Penn State, and their last few games outside of the Rutgers game have been nail-biters and maybe not for the best.
Yeah, unfortunately not. We'll see. It'll be a tight race. I mean, these last couple games are going to be incredibly fun to watch. I mean, there's so much on the line, and then just incredible talent playing each other too. So I'm excited to see him. Get it going. Let's go.
Let's do it. Football, right?
Yeah.
We're going to switch gears to the game I call Bounce and Squeak, basketball. The Pistons. At the end of last episode, I said we might get the Kool-Aid on hand. Every time I have said, let's get Kool-Aid, the team just folds. So we're banning Kool-Aid from the show. If I want to drink the Kool-Aid, well, we're going to drink something a little different on this show. And, well, I'm not going to jinx it for us, but let's just say in a few weeks we might be having a good time here on the head side of the wrap-up. We're getting the whole crew out. Everyone here. We're going to have you guys on the show, on here, and we're going to have a good time if our teams start winning games. The Pistons, though, they were 5-1 when I said we're going to drink their Kool-Aid next week.
What happened?
They haven't won since.
What happened?
They've lost 4 straight.
Yes.
But hey, their bench is playing better.
Yeah.
I saw a stat yesterday. I was watching the game against the Lakers, and in their last 4 games, the Pistons bench has woken up. Yeah, but their team hasn't. The rest of the team, set the alarm, wake them up. They've lost 4 straight, although, mind you, it was on that West Coast trip where they ended up going 2-4, but they won their first 2 games against Phoenix and Portland. The Portland game, they had no business winning that. Then they lose to Golden State, Sacramento, and then lose both Laker and Clipper games on Saturday and Sunday. They're coming back home. Let's see what they can do. Stan Van Gundy is a great coach, and I think he's going to have his team prepared.
Yeah, and those teams that they lost against, they really weren't terrible teams.
The Lakers were 1-8.
Yeah, but the Clippers, they're a solid team. Golden State, they just came off their championship.
Sacramento's terrible as well.
Sacramento's terrible.
They have talent, but the record's terrible.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's some games they should have won. Obviously, there's other games they shouldn't have. But I really like Stan Van Gundy's approach. He wasn't quiet about how he felt the last game. He definitely got into Reggie Jackson, calling his fourth quarter performance awful, which it really was. If you saw any of the game, it was pretty embarrassing. But, I like how Stan's actually going to come out and call players out. He's not going to tiptoe around the fact that some of our other coaches in the city do, which is, it's great. I love it. And, Stan will speak how he feels, and he's going to throw you under the bus if he has to. And good for him, 'cause, maybe this team needs that.
If you're watching a Pistons game and they have that natural sound of the bouncing and the squeaking, and what comes with those sounds, you're like, every once in a while. But there's always a sound that you're always going to hear, and that's Stan's high-pitched, gravelly voice.
What are you doing?
Throughout the entire game.
Yep.
And that's something that's now just a staple in Pistons basketball.
Yep.
The few staples in Pistons basketball are Stan Van Gundy and losing. That is it. Sorry to the slappies that I just offended. Show me something, Pistons. Show me something. Do I think you're a better team? Yeah. But don't drop 4 straight to some garbage-ass teams. Moving on. Red Wings.
Yeah.
2 straight losses. Damn. What do they need?
Need a wake-up call. We need some. I know we got Pavel coming back from an injury. They're messing with the lines a little bit, but they're just figure things out. Obviously, it's not the team that we were used to seeing early on in the season, but it's just a matter of time before they wake up and get this train rolling again. They're just too powerful of a team not to be successful, and we'll see what they can do. Hopefully, with a younger team, it might get into their heads, but I don't think that might be the case. But we'll figure out, see if Blasher can put something together and get this train rolling again.
I've been saying they're waiting to catch their groove. They're gonna catch their groove, and I'm starting to get worried because when they start playing in a game, it's too late. The Boston game on Saturday was a great example. It's 3-0, 10 minutes left in the third, and that last 10 minutes they dominated the game. Scored a goal, could have scored a couple. Like where was that the first 2.5 periods?
Right.
I don't know what the problem is, whether it's leadership, whether it's coaching, whether it's defense, could be. Yeah. I just don't know what the problem is, and they need something. Maybe when Brad Richards comes back, he'll add that veteran scoring sense. He should be back within the week. Mike Green's starting to catch his groove. He's getting points in back-to-back games. And it's just, I don't know. I think Peter Mrazek needs this number one job now. I'd say the experiment, I'm sorry, Friday night, Jimmy Howard was dreadful.
Yeah, it was.
He was Swiss cheese in that. Yeah. Sure, you could say the third goal, it was deflected. He had no chance. The shot was negative 17 miles an hour. He had time to react. Peter Mrazek would have reacted. His reaction time is like a cat. And I just think Peter Mrazek has earned the job. He's top 5 in save percentage and goals against in the whole NHL. And Jimmy Howard's just, the team's almost not energized when he's out there. Those are the games they get late starts in, is when Jimmy Howard plays. And when Mrazek, I don't think that has anything to do with it, but it's just, for the last year, it's
coincidental.
Looked like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think you got to give Mrazek 3, 4, 5 games in a row here, see what he can do, and then make your decision. I think he has definitely earned that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, but with that, does it get into Jimmy's head? Do we have the same issue as we did last year? Should we start looking for a new home for him? Maybe get some money for him while his revenue or his worth is still semi-attractive to other teams?
Yeah. And do I care if it gets in his head? No, because the main job is to win hockey games. Yeah. Do I care about guys' feelings? No. Do the Illiches? Sure, they're classy, they're gonna. But do I? No. You have one your objective is to win hockey games. Oh, well, Jimmy, his feelings are hurt. He hasn't played in a week. Buzz off, pal. I found a great spot for you. It's the Pine. You're charting face-offs. Don't get splinters in your ass. They got to win, plain and simple. Yeah. And this is Hockey Town. The fans demand it. I demand it, and that's number one reason. Make a change. Smith's sick. That's fine. The poison worked. Just kidding. He's terrible. He's dreadful. He's pretty messed up, though, too. For the morning skate today, he went down there ready to skate. He had to leave while he was getting dressed. That's happened Boston game as well. After warm-ups, he left and didn't even stay for the game. He's pretty jacked up with a stomach bug. So he's been out. That's fine. I think Marchenko and Kindle have stepped in greatly, and I think they deserve it. And when Quincy comes back, obviously, in the last year and a half, he has earned his spot. Quincy takes a lot of heat. I think he deserves a spot. Maybe not in the second pair, but definitely the third pair. And his plus-minus was second on the team. Datsuk's going to get the guys back. He's an exciting player to watch, and he's a game changer. It's only a matter of time. I'm going back to that. Just talked myself out of my anger.
Good.
They're going to pick up 2 points against Ottawa.
Yeah.
They're going to shut down Washington. LA, it's going to be a long flight back home for them, and they're going to go into St. Louis, and they're going to go 4-0 this week. You can put it in the front page. You can put it in the back page. Whatever local newspaper you get, I'm writing in it. Newspaper people, let me get in on that. They're getting 8 points this week. Anything less would be a disappointment. You can write me, give me hate mail. I don't care. You know where to find me. Moving on, Ronda Rousey. She loses the first fight of her career to Holly Holm by knockout in the second round with a nice little kick to the head. Ronda, as we know, she didn't fist bump her opponent before the game. She had a lot of things to say about her on Twitter and Instagram, calling her fake, expletive, this, that, and the other. That's just how Rousey is. She likes to get in their head, and she was going to have the pleasure of beating home. She said, well, guess what, Ronda? Wake-up call or good-night call. She goes down for the first time in her life.
Yeah, that was huge. She was outpowered 38-17 with the hits and punches.
Way undersized as well in
Yeah.
height, but the weight was the same.
And it was funny too because with that fight, compared to her last fight, with all the talk with her family and with the other girl, was that in Brazil? Was that where they had that last fight?
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so publicized. So this fight, all right, here we go. Rousey's taking on another chump. She's going to drop her or whatever. And really, I wasn't able to see the game right away, but I checked on my phone and my jaw literally just hit the ground. I was just, like Rousey's jaw, it just hit the ground. She really got manhandled. I could not get over the sheer strength and the veracity of the girl's punches. Oh my gosh, I mean, if you watch any of her training videos, it was just incredible how fast she can move her fist and stuff like that. And she was ready. I mean, there wasn't too much talk. It really seemed like all the talking was coming from Rousey's end.
It always is.
Yeah,
It always is.
Yeah, she was just focused, and now you got a new champion, and we'll see. I'm really looking forward to that rematch. I think that's gonna be incredible.
Well, home, she has not lost a fight in her career.
Right.
So is she the new Rousey? Is there a new sheriff in town?
Hopefully, there's two that are just duking it out for the next couple pay-per-views. Because I thought that was incredibly entertaining. I mean, this rematch should it happen, is going to be incredibly entertaining. So we'll see.
Do you remember Ronda Rousey calls out Floyd Mayweather for not knowing how to read? Do you recall that?
Yep.
Well, him and 50 Cent were called out by Ronda Rousey. They have since responded, and there's a picture of them with a sign, and it says, Ronda, we can read this, and it says KO on it. So they're learning the English language.
Good.
And Ronda's helping them. Learn to read with Ronda Rousey. KO, TKO, what have you. Ronda, if you're watching.
One letter at a time.
Sorry. I love you.
Yeah, she was rushed to the hospital, so she was right after the fight. Little has been said from her camp or her. You know, she said it was.
That's shocking that they're quiet.
Yeah.
There's a lot of words coming out of that camp normally.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. Tons. Yeah, it's pretty vocal.
All of which we cannot say here on the wrap up.
Yeah. So there's a new champion, so that'd be pretty interesting.
It's going to be interesting. I'm gonna predict some champions right now.
All right.
Okay, Dan. Question for you. Of the 6 teams here in Detroit, I'm including Michigan and Michigan State. So you have the Red Wings, the Lions, the Pistons, the Tigers, Michigan and Michigan State football. Which of these teams, the 6 I just named, will win a title next? And for the college, that's a national title.
Oh, well.
Which of those 6 teams will be the next team to win a title, championship?
Well, naturally, I'll go with the Wings first, just because of the true talent that they got going on right now. Are we doing them, ranking them in place?
Let's do it, Dan. Let's make it jiffy.
Right, let's go
Rank
with
them number 1.
the Wings first, Lions last.
Okay, let's fill it in. Now you got 4 teams.
All
Wings.
right, then we'll go Michigan.
Michigan, number 2, eh?
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
And then this is really going to upset a lot of people. I'm going to go with the Pistons and then MSU.
And the Tigers, second to last?
So, yeah, that's right. I forgot about the Tigers.
Yeah,
wow,
that's
yeah, second
fine.
last.
All right, well,
anyway.
okay, that's fine. Dan goes Red Wings, Michigan Wolverines football, Pistons, Spartans, Tigers and Lions. Nick is about to respond. My number 1 is going to surprise everyone here because I'm going with the Pistons.
Yeah, good.
Stan Van Gundy see out that team turn around. I just don't see any other teams winning. Pistons 1, Michigan 2, Red Wings 3, Tigers 4, Michigan State 5, Lions 6. Michigan State's they're trending the wrong way.
Yeah.
Recruits are pulling out left and right. The Big Ten's going to be back to Michigan, Ohio State, and I just think Harbaugh knows how to get the most out of his players. That's why they're 2, and the Wings are right there because they're the Wings. Sure, people are going to argue they're trending in the wrong direction, but I think my heart tells me they're not because I love them. They're the one team that I am truly hurt when they lose.
Yeah.
I can handle the Lions. I can laugh at the Tigers. Pistons, well, I watched them twice this year, 2 more than I've watched the last 4 years, that is. Michigan State, I couldn't care less. In Michigan, they're my second dogs. Walmart family for life. So that's my list.
Good.
If
Yeah.
you'd like the complete list and more, you can check us out on social media. Dan Myers at DMyers182 on Twitter. OC Drums 182 on Instagram. Check him out. He's posting some of the best pictures around. If you follow him, this weekend you had some real hot pictures going up.
Yeah, I'm surprised we made it this far without acknowledging it, but we do have to acknowledge one thing.
We don't actually.
My co-host right now just scored his 100th goal in his hockey career, and that was Saturday night. So I want to say a big congratulations to Nick for your 100th career goal.
Appreciate it. There's
It
no
was
need
a
for
dandy
that.
style also.
Dandy style.
Yeah, it was very good. So we had some ginger ales to celebrate, and he did it. It was a good job.
Canada
So congratulations.
Dry. Canada Dry. Appreciate that. Dan, couldn't have done it without you. And the rest
I'm
of my
sure you
team.
could have.
I could only imagine to be in the beer leagues at the age of 23, but hey, milestone's a milestone, whether it's fake, real, or anything in between. Dan Myers, check him out. Check me out if you don't want to be impressed at Nick Buck on Twitter and Instagram. And for all of us here at the Wrap Up, happy November, and hopefully the warm weather sticks around here in the mitten. For Dan Myers, I'm Nick Buckley. Thanks for watching.